population control. The dogs he uses in the fashion show are all up for adoption.
And finally, a plus-size bear nickname T-shirt got some help from California Sheriff's deputies after getting stuck while dumpster diving. In a dash cam video released by the Placer County Sheriff's Office, deputies recognized the big bear from the white patch on his chest. Two deputies gingerly opened the lids of the dumpster. You don't want to get too close. T-shirt could do some damage. The big bear eventually...
Come on, attaboy.
This wasn't T-shirt's first run. Troublemaker. All right, that's our time for now. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hope to see you back here on Monday. Stay warm. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now, some Sun Prairie residents are upset about a plan that could increase their taxes to pay for child care at city meetings.
Racine County investigators have arrested the woman suspected of a murder that has been unsolved for 20 years.
Plus, we're asking local residents what they think about the lack of discussion during yesterday's special session on gun control.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
Thanks for staying with us at 5 tonight, everyone. People living in Sun Prairie may soon be paying more in taxes to pay for babysitting services at city meetings.
Well, since that idea was proposed, many say it's a waste of their tax dollars. Jamie Perez joins us now to explain more about it. Jamie?
I spoke with the mayor over the phone, and he said the biggest misconception that a lot of people had was that they thought the babysitting service was only for city staff. He told me that's not the case and that these services would be open to everyone. But I asked some people in Sun Prairie today who are familiar with this plan if this is something that they would be willing to pay for.
There's many options that they could have, and it's just not a good use of our money.
At some point, you got to draw the line and say, get a babysitter yourself, and, don't put that on the taxpayers.
A proposal to increase taxes to provide babysitting services at city meetings was recently added to the 2020 budget. The idea was partially proposed by Alder Teresa Stevens.
I feel that in my position as one of two women on our council with younger children, it was one of those opportunities for me to highlight this issue.
At a city council meeting this week,
I believe it is important.
Stevens and Emily Lindsay said why they proposed it in the first place.
I've heard from constituents, well, I'd like to come to the meeting to talk about this proposal or that proposal, but I can't do it because of family obligations.
Some alders don't like the idea.
I don't think that a whole lot of people are going to be bringing their children in here. We have a meeting.
While others think it's a good idea.
That I think that we would find more people that would be that would support this than people that are out there on social media.
Stevens said no one who's voiced their opposition online has shown up to any of the meetings to say so.
At our last meeting, no one came. All of the comments were on Facebook or other social media.
Stevens says the average tax increase to families would be 16 cents per month.
I think that's a fair price to pay to encourage everyone to have a voice at the table.
It's a conversation that continues to have some back and forth.
No, I am not in favor. It's a nice thought, but I think it could be put to better use.
That's definitely what we're after, is to really test that and see, is this a need? Is this the one road bump that's keeping people from really participating? Give it an honest try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
People are really concerned about going to city council meetings. They'll go. They'll figure out a way.
The initial vote passed on this 5-3, and they still have a final vote on this for November 19th. If you would like to voice your opinion on this, you can go and say your piece during that public comment portion of that meeting.
All right, Jamie Perez reporting. Jamie, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. To weather now. We'll actually see a brief warm-up tomorrow, but I don't know if it'll stick around. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. How warm, Gary?
Well, we take what we can get this time of year. Let's put it that way. We've got a little cloud cover coming in from the west, and that's actually a good sign because that means warmer aloft is starting to head in our direction. Not seeing any precipitation out of that, but we probably will see a couple of flurries later on tonight. Temperatures are quite cold. We're at 27 here in Madison, but notice actually a little warmer to the north and west. La Crosse is at 31. We'll see our temperatures fall a couple of degrees this evening and then start rising overnight, but the winds will pick up, so wind chills will still be in the teens to around 20 degrees, so it'll still feel rather chilly through the overnight hours. In fact, we could even see a few flurries, but those temperatures will climb, and by tomorrow afternoon, we should hit a balmy high of 41, but again, we have unseasonably cold weather on the way for early next week. I'll have more details on weather in a few minutes.
20 years later, officials in Racine County have answers 20 years later to a cold case.
The brutal murder is one investigators say they will never forget. Amanda Quintana shares what they've uncovered. Amanda.
The woman buried as Jane Doe was found fatally beaten near a cornfield in 1999. Investigators determined she had suffered burns and blunt force trauma to much of her body and showed signs of being sexually abused and malnourished. Today, she was identified as Peggy Lynn Johnson. She was 23 years old and was never listed as a missing person. Sheriff Christopher Schmaling said she went out on her own at the age of 18 after her mother died. A registered nurse at a medical facility in McHenry, Illinois, recognized Johnson was cognitively impaired and took her in. She lived with Linda LaRoche for the last 5 years of her life, suffering long-term horrific abuse.
This is a day of mixed emotions, ladies and gentlemen, for all of us in this room. We are angered by this senseless and brutal murder of this young woman, and we want justice served. Yet we're also very proud today by the fact that we can finally offer some closure and some peace.
Racine County investigators arrested LaRoche in Cape Coral, Florida on Tuesday after receiving a tip from a concerned citizen who said LaRoche had been telling people she had killed a woman back when she lived in Illinois. She faces the possibility of life in prison.
Amanda, thank you. We're learning more about the man suspected of throwing acid on a Latino man in Milwaukee. The National Personnel Record Center confirming that Clifton Blackwell served in the Marines from 1975 to 1978. The 61-year-old is charged with first-degree reckless injury as a hate crime.
A Wisconsin National Guard sergeant says he has been discharged in retaliation for complaining about sexual misconduct in his unit. Master Sergeant Jay Ellis's complaint last year has triggered 2 federal investigations. Ellis says he was notified he would receive a medical discharge. The Wisconsin Guard's top commander, Major General Donald Dunbar, has ordered an investigation into the alleged retaliation. In under 30 seconds apiece, the state Senate and Assembly opened and closed special sessions on gun control legislation. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald was the only senator who entered his chamber. There was no discussion before he closed the session. People we spoke to in his district in Beaver Dam say they disagreed with the decision to wrap things up so quickly, but some agreed that they didn't want the laws passed.
It's not going to work. I just don't think it's going to work. I think the laws that we have existing right now, they're not working. I don't know how you're going to enhance that.
The pieces of legislation would have expanded universal background checks and allowed judges to temporarily seize guns from people who pose a threat. The Assembly opened and closed its session without discussion on those as well.
Expect traffic shifts on Verona Road over the weekend. Crews putting the final touches on the expanded lanes. This is between Raymond Road and County Highway PD. There will be overhead signs to help drivers shift onto those new lanes. Starting Sunday morning, 3 lanes will be open for southbound Verona Road traffic. And then by Monday morning, 3 northbound lanes will be open.
Today, volunteers and individuals were recognized for helping make Madison and Dane County such a great place to live. The Association of Fundraising Professionals hosted its 32nd annual awards luncheon today for Philanthropy Day at the Overture Center. I was there to MC along with Neil Heinen. Pleasant Rowland was among the honorees this year. She was given the Lifetime Achievement Award for the transformational gift that brought the Overture Center to Madison. Tonight is the Badger men's basketball home opener, and the team is taking time to honor Howard Moore and his family. The assistant coach's wife and daughter were killed in May in a car crash in Michigan. Moore and his son survived, but the coach was seriously injured. The wrong-way driver that hit the family had a blood alcohol content 2.5 times the legal limit. UW Athletics is asking fans to take their seats by 6:45 tonight to honor the Moore family. We'll have that story tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
More local news now. Schwinn is donating 125 new bicycles to an organization that serves foster families across Wisconsin. Employees work to assemble those bikes today at Schwinn's headquarters in Madison. It's part of the company's larger Give Back campaign, donating $125,000 worth of bicycles to celebrate its 125th year doing business.
It's about getting people out on bikes, having positive experience. It's great exercise, it's great fun, but it also is a sense of empowerment and freedom, especially for those younger kids.
The nonprofit organization Together We Rise will distribute those bicycles across the state throughout the year 2020.
Coming up next at 5, new interview transcripts released from the impeachment inquiry, what investigators say they're learning ahead of next week's public hearings.
Now there's more local news ahead. A World War II soldier finally laid to rest in Beloit. We'll hear from his family member who didn't think it could ever happen. That's tonight on News 3 Now at 6. And the market's closing with slight gains. The Dow up a half dozen, the Nasdaq adding 41. The S&P 500 closed with an 8-point gain, and we'll be right back.
Tomorrow marks the 30th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. The wall was built in 1961 because too many people were fleeing Soviet-controlled East Berlin to escape to the West. Hundreds of East Germans were shot to death trying to find freedom. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was stationed near Berlin as an Army officer during the Cold War. This week he returned to commemorate the fall of the Iron Curtain. Today, part of the wall still stands as a memorial to symbolize the collapse of communist regimes across Europe.
New video of a dump truck flying through the wall of a Florida State Farm Agency building. The incident caught on camera shows the truck slamming into a woman at her desk. She's expected to be okay. That crash happened this morning during the busy morning commute. At least 8 vehicles were involved. On Capitol Hill, interview transcripts from former White House aide Fiona Hill and the National Security Council's Alexander Vindman were released today. Both recalled EU Ambassador Gordon Sondland asking for investigations during meetings with Ukrainian officials. President Trump downplayed the depositions before heading to Atlanta for a rally.
I'm not concerned about anything. The testimony has all been fine.
Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney failed to appear for his deposition today despite a congressional subpoena. Meanwhile, House Republicans are adding one of the president's staunchest defenders on Capitol Hill to the Intelligence Committee. That would be Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. He's expected to take part in the impeachment public hearings when they begin next week.
Today, former White House advisor Steve Bannon took the stand at day 4 of Roger Stone's trial. Bannon testified against Stone, the longtime advisor to President Trump. Stone pleaded not guilty to 7 charges of obstruction, witness tampering, and lying to the House Intelligence Committee investigating Russian interference in the election. He's accused of lying about efforts to secretly contact WikiLeaks, which was rolling out Democratic documents stolen by Russians. Looking ahead, Sears is expected to get through the holiday season, but the retailer could be forced to close another 96 Sears and Kmart stores in February. Going out of business sales will start December 2nd for those locations. After that, Sears will be down to just 182 stores. That's down from nearly 700 stores that it had when it filed for bankruptcy in October of last year.
All right, to weather, a slight warm-up tomorrow if you're heading to Camp Randall for the Badger game, but we could see record cold in the days to follow. Gary has our forecast.
I suppose it's good news that the warmest day over the next week or so will be tomorrow, but for the Badger game itself, we're looking at variably cloudy skies or mostly cloudy skies. Kickoff temperature around 40 degrees. That's around 3 p.m. By halftime, temperatures already start to drop. We'll be in the upper 30s, and by the time the game is over, the 5th quarter starts, we're at 36 degrees. Temperatures will stay in the 30s for most of tomorrow night. But 3 things to know: it won't be as cold tomorrow, but still chilly for November. The average high temperatures in the upper 40s will make the lower 40s. Then we'll turn colder on Sunday. Some light snow late in the afternoon or Sunday night will lead to the next round of unseasonably cold and near record cold for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. On Doppler track, things very quiet around here right now. There are a few flurries out to the west. These are heading in our direction, and that's actually a good sign for a warm-up because that's warm air aloft that's being lifted up over the colder air and causing those flurries to develop. Not expecting anything as far as accumulation. Over the next 12 hours, our temperatures will drop to the lower 20s by 9 p.m., but take a look what happens after that. They start rising as we head through the night, and so by tomorrow morning, temperatures could be up in the upper 20s or close to 30 degrees. But again, we have those alert days in the forecast for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for cold, sometimes record or near record cold temperatures. We dropped the forecast low temperature for Tuesday to 6 degrees, and that would break the record of 7 set back in 1986. And we could be close to record low high temperatures for Monday and Tuesday as well. And the 10-day temperature outlook, well, you can see the average high temperature drops from 48 to 43. We don't even get to 43 over that 10-day period, although we will be around 40 for tomorrow and next Saturday. The live view from the Platteville Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam. Skies are becoming mostly cloudy. The WISC Sky Cam just a couple of minutes ago showed a little bit of sunshine on the far western horizon, a little bit of light, but the clouds are starting to fill in. Edgewater Sky Cam in downtown Madison. We've got mostly cloudy skies now across town. Our high temperature today, 27 degrees, 21 degrees below normal, and the low temperature of 8, just barely above that record low of 7 set back in 1991. So I didn't think we'd make it, and it was close, but we didn't set a record last night. 27, the current temperature. Skies are becoming cloudy, but winds have shifted to the south at 11 miles per hour. So while the temperatures will start warming up later on, the wind chills are in the teens, and they'll probably stay in the teens for much of the night. For tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, not as cold. Could see a couple of flurries, but rising temperatures after an evening low of 22 degrees. And then for tomorrow, look for variably cloudy skies. But winds out of the west to southwest will push our temperature up to a balmy 41 degrees, even though that'll still be 8 degrees below average. Future track shows those clouds thickening up tonight, maybe a couple of flurries, but as those winds pick up out of the south, temperatures will start rising. And tomorrow we'll look for high temperatures in the upper 30s and low 40s. Then tomorrow night we drop back to around 30, and then on Sunday look for high temperatures in the mid 30s. And you can see some light snow or flurries. That will reach us probably late Sunday afternoon or a Sunday night, and then that will be followed by some more unseasonably cold weather for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week when we have those alert days. Thursday and Friday, temperatures at least back in the low to mid 30s, a couple of flurries on Thursday, and then back to around 40 next Saturday. The next shot of colder air doesn't look to be quite as cold. High temperatures for Sunday and Monday of the following week will probably be in the middle to the upper 30s. As we take a look at first alert traffic, it's a Friday. Everybody's trying to head out of town. There's the eastbound Beltline at Park Street moving pretty slowly. We're seeing some slowdowns on the eastbound Beltline from around Monona Drive to Verona Road. And we're also seeing some slowdowns on the Beltline, actually, as you head southward from University Avenue down toward Gammon Road and Old Sauk Road. So it's possible you could have a couple of delays there. Right now, a 26-minute commute on the eastbound Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 24 minutes going back westbound. Heading out of Madison, 27 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990 from the Beltline, 22 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 18 minutes from downtown to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert Traffic.
Thank you, Gary.
Next at 5, we're taking a trip to France to check out the world's fastest hypercar. Stay with us.
CDC officials say they may have found the source of that outbreak of illnesses and deaths related to vaping. Vitamin E acetate in combination with THC may be to blame. The CDC is continuing to test a wide range of chemicals, saying that there may be more than one cause. Until the work is complete, they're suggesting that people refrain from using all vaping products with THC, no matter where they're purchased. Nationwide, vaping is linked to 2,000 cases of lung injury and at least 40 deaths.
And the CEO of Juul says the e-cigarette company will not sell mint-flavored products to retailers or online anymore. Last month, the company moved to stop selling flavors other than tobacco, mint, and menthol. With mint off the list, Juul will now sell only Virginia tobacco, classic tobacco, and menthol flavors in the U.S. It comes after research published this week showed mint flavor was attractive to young people who vape. Most people can only dream of owning a supercar because of the outrageous price tag.
But for those with deep pockets and a need for speed, even exotic cars won't cut it. The hypercar is the new thing, as Ian Lee reports from eastern France.
At this exclusive chateau in Molsheim, France, we enter the world of hypercars, some of the fastest, most expensive, most luxurious in the world. The home of Bugatti. To see what a $3 million Chiron Sport is packing, we get behind the wheel with legendary race car driver Andy Wallace. We let loose all its 1,500 horses. Giddy up. A souped-up version of the Chiron recently broke a record, becoming the first production car to top speeds of 300 miles per hour.
So when you hit 300, though, what was the feeling? Accomplishment? Just focus?
Well, it's the fastest I've ever been, that's for sure.
While we didn't quite hit 300, we flew. Speed has been in the company's DNA for over 100 years. The first cars were born to race.
The 35 is our best car in our portfolio for the winnings and racing.
The crown jewel.
Yes, exactly.
Today, each car is handcrafted with carbon fiber, aerospace-grade metals, and built uniquely for each client. Less than 100 roll out of the workshop every year. Unless it's Bugatti's La Voiture Noire. That was one of a kind, $19 million, the most expensive new car ever sold.
We're at the top of the automotive tree.
What makes Bugatti stand out compared to Ferrari, Lamborghini, and other supercars?
Not only are we the fastest production car in the world and the most powerful, we're a luxury car. So it's a complete package.
Bugatti won't reveal what's coming next. So buckle up as they race to stay one car length ahead of the competition. Ian Lee, CBS News in Molsheim, France.
Very cool. Now, you want one, I know, right?
That's how fast you drive to work.
Yeah, well, if you feel a need to burn a hole in your pocket to buy one of these hypercars, you have to be patient. The waiting list is 2 years.
That is unbelievable. All right, we'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment. Stay with us.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, how newly released testimony in the impeachment inquiry implicates the president's acting chief of staff, who defied a congressional subpoena today. The CDC reports a breakthrough in its investigation into what may have caused those vaping deaths. We'll tell you what they found. And Steve Hartman on the road with the story of a nurse who saved a man's life, not with medicine, but an incredible act of kindness. We've got those stories and more tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Well, snow is on the ground starting today. You'll see bell ringers outside your grocery stores as well. Salvation Army needs more volunteers to fill those 2-hour shifts at 63 kettle stands. Right now, 80% of those shifts are not filled. The organization needs to raise more than $500,000 from now through Christmas Eve to fund the area's only single women's shelter, an emergency family shelter, and after-school programs.
We don't have a choice. We have to raise the money. It's not like we have a surplus of funds. So we're looking at a $600,000 goal this year.
Now, if you'd like to register to ring, we have a link to do so at channel3000.com. And new this year, 40 Red Kettle stations all across Dane County will accept donations via Apple Pay or Google Pay if you don't carry cash. Finally, at 5, if you received a confusing text message on Wednesday, it's apparently due to a glitch that affected all major cell carriers.
More than 150,000 messages were sent that were originally intended for Valentine's Day. Consumers reached out on social media posting that they received texts from ex-significant others, and as you can imagine, that led to some very awkward conversations. Some carriers blamed a third-party vendor, but others blamed a maintenance update.
Now, we hope it didn't damage any relationships out there.
Maybe it started a few new ones. The flowers.
Let's go to Gary. Final check of this chilly weather.
It's cold out there. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 20s, 27 right now in Madison, but look at the wind chills. They're in the teens, so it feels a little colder than that. Good news is we're up to 41 for tomorrow. Bad news is we're back to unseasonably cold weather Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, and then a little moderation in temperature toward the end of the week.
All right, Gary, thanks. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. Coming up next, the CBS Evening News.